The divorce papers sat inside the top drawer of my desk, already signed, waiting for the right moment. For 3 months, I'd carried them around like a secret weapon, convinced my marriage was already over. My wife, Emma, had become distant. She smiled less, answered my questions with one-word replies, and spent more evenings at her mother's house than at home. Every time I asked if something was wrong, she simply said, "I'm tired." I stopped believing her. The late nights, the hidden phone calls, the way she avoided my eyes, I built a story in my mind. Maybe there was someone else. Maybe she had fallen out of love with me. Maybe the woman who had promised forever on a rainy spring afternoon had quietly decided forever wasn't as long as she thought. That Saturday, I planned to end everything. Emma had gone to her mother's house after breakfast, saying she needed to help organize old family photos. I picked up the divorce papers, slipped them into a folder, and drove there, determined to ask her to step outside so we could finish what I believed had already ended. The front door was slightly open. I raised my hand to knock but paused when I heard Emma's voice drifting from the kitchen. She sounded exhausted, almost as if she had been crying. "I don't know how much longer I can hide it, Mom." Her mother answered softly, "You don't have to carry this alone." "I do," Emma whispered. "If he finds out before everything is ready, he'll stop me." My heart sank. There it was. Proof. She was planning something behind my back. I stood frozen outside the doorway, unable to move. Then Emma continued, "I know he thinks I've stopped loving him. I can see it every time he looks at me. But if I tell him the truth now, he'll spend every dollar we have on me instead of himself." There was a long silence. Her mother finally spoke. "He deserves to know you're sick." My hands began to shake. Emma let out a trembling breath. "The doctor said the treatment has a good chance of working, but it's expensive. He's already working overtime just to pay the mortgage. I can't ask him to sacrifice everything. He already gave up his dream job once so we could stay close to my family after Dad died." I felt the folder slip from my fingers. The papers hit the porch with a dull thud. Inside, Emma kept talking, unaware I was only a few feet away. "I've been secretly taking extra shifts online, selling my jewelry, even using the money Grandma left me. If I can save enough before treatment starts, maybe he won't have to know how serious it is." Her voice cracked. "The hardest part isn't being sick. It's watching him believe I don't love him anymore." A quiet sob escaped her. "I miss him so much. Every night I want to tell him everything. I want him to hold me like he used to. But if he looks at me with that worried face, I don't think I'll be strong enough." Tears blurred my vision. For months, I'd been collecting imaginary evidence against the woman who had actually been sacrificing everything to protect me. I wasn't losing my wife because she had stopped loving me. I was losing her because she loved me so much she thought she had to fight alone. I stepped inside. The floor creaked. Emma turned around, her face instantly draining of color. "Daniel." She looked at the divorce papers lying near the doorway. Her eyes filled with heartbreak. "So, you know." I nodded, unable to speak. She thought I meant her illness. I thought she meant the divorce. For one painful second, we stood there separated by two terrible secrets. Then I crossed the room and wrapped my arms around her. She burst into tears against my chest. "I'm sorry," she whispered over and over. "I didn't want you to carry this burden." I held her tighter. "The only burden," I said through my own tears, "was believing I had to live without you." She looked up at me, confused. I reached into the folder and slowly tore the divorce papers into tiny pieces. The shredded pages drifted onto the kitchen floor like white snow. Emma stared at them. "You were going to leave me." "I was," I admitted honestly, because I stopped asking questions and started believing my own fears. She gently touched my face. "I should have trusted you." "And I should have trusted us." Her mother quietly slipped out of the kitchen, leaving us alone. For the first time in months, there were no secrets between us. Emma told me everything: the diagnosis, the treatment plan, the fear she carried every morning, and the hope she refused to lose. When she finished, I smiled through my tears. "You remember our wedding vows?" She nodded. "In sickness and in health," I reminded her. "Those weren't just beautiful words. They were a promise." She cried harder. "I thought I was protecting you." You don't protect a marriage by carrying pain alone, I said softly. You protect it by letting the other person carry half. She rested her forehead against mine. I was so afraid. I know. Are you still? I smiled, terrified. She laughed through her tears. So am I. We stood there holding each other while sunlight poured through the kitchen window, warming the room that had nearly become the place where our marriage ended. Instead, it became the place where it truly began again. That afternoon, we called the hospital together, organized the treatment schedule together, and made a new financial plan together. The road ahead would not be easy, but neither of us would ever have to walk it alone. Sometimes, the most dangerous thing in a marriage isn't betrayal. It's silence. And sometimes, one overheard confession can save a love that both people were desperately trying to protect.